Palestinians are living under Israeli control.
Wait, you can't get into Gaza without going through an Israeli border?
Without Israeli permission, or on the Egyptian side,
there you go.
Effectively the Egyptian government is working in collaboration with the Israeli government. But Israel does not allow anyone to visit Gaza without going through Israeli checks. And in some cases,
when we're looking at these restrictions here, why does Egypt restrict access to the Gaza Strip if it's so horrible what Israel's doing? Why does Jordan restrict access to the West Bank if it's so horrible what Israel is doing?
Yeah, and in the case of the West Bank, it's an Israeli border control that you're going through, not a Jordanian one. So Israel is in control of the West Bank. In the case of Gaza and Egypt, the Egyptian government effectively is on the U.S.-Israeli team. That is really effectively all there is to say about that. So they work in collaboration to advance shared interests of Egypt, of the United States, and
That's
of Israel.
The only reason why Egypt doesn't want Palestinians that come from the Gaza Strip into the Sinai Peninsula? There's no history of terrorist attacks or illegal shipment of weapons or anything like that.
Egypt does not like the Muslim Brotherhood, and Hamas is an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Okay. Why does the blockade exist?
And, well, let me ask you this question in relation to that. Cookies were not allowed in. Can you explain to me what threat cookies pose to Israel from your perspective?
Well, if they're the Keebler Elf ones, it's like 200 calories a cookie, so maybe they just didn't want people getting fat. Why does the blockade exist for the Gaza Strip? Why is there a blockade at all?
That dominates their lives.
Gotcha. Wait, so why does the blockade exist? Because
Hamas does not want to play ball with Israel. That's why. Israel
what does that mean? Hamas doesn't want to play ball with Israel. That's like the fourth time I've asked you. I'm just curious. Why would Israel put up a blockade? Was it just to starve those poor people? Why don't they have a blockade in the West Bank?
Because Hamas does not have a peace agreement with Israel.
That's it? That's the only reason? Just because they don't have a peace agreement?
Well, until the Israeli government agrees to A, B, and C. What would your reaction to that be?
Well, first, I would really want to know, why does Israel blockade the Gaza Strip? I think it's the fifth time I asked this question.
If you're restricting people from being able to eat cookies and chips and sodas in Gaza.
So one of the things that's frustrating about the Israel-Palestine debate is, like Ben Shapiro, on the other end, you just have people that are blindly partisan. We can't acknowledge at all why Israel would blockade the Gaza Strip. You're going to tell me it was to install these harsh humanitarian conditions that are somehow putting the whole population on a diet and starving them when their population is like tripled? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Why can't we at least acknowledge, like, okay, sure. Why can't we say, okay, sure, Israel put the blockade up because people like Iran and Turkey were shipping in weapons to the Gaza Strip in submersibles that were used throughout all of Israel during the Second Intifada of 2000-2004. And then once Hamas took over and then essentially ejected Fatah from the region, Israel felt like Hamas was going to continue to engage in attacks against Israel. So they wanted to blockade to prevent weapons from going in. Now, you can say that and still say you feel like Hamas can fight, but why not be honest about why the blockade exists? And even when you say things like they were blocking things like sugar related items like cookies and everything, isn't that literally one of the big fields that they used for their early Qassam rockets? Was literally like fertilizer and sugar that they would mix to shoot rockets continuously over into Israel?
Again, do I call you Steven or Destiny? I'm not sure.
Steven is fine.